Okay, here's what I've done. You know, well, you probably don't. I'm sure you've seen something in the news, all these kind of things, about all the restaurants that are shutting down.
Yeah.
Okay. Regardless of the reason it's happening.
Right.
Yes? There is a lot of talent in the back of the kitchen. Right? There's a lot of people that if they had the opportunity, they could probably have a successful place, or at least give them a chance, but oftentimes, if not all the time, if you were an owner, you can have your own place, make whatever you want, work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, have 3 weeks a year vacation, 10 holidays off, and a personal day. You have a normal life and a normal job.
Right.
And make 50 grand a year or more.
Right. That's what I make now.
I understand, but you see what I'm saying? Most people in the restaurant industry don't make that.
Right. All right. You know.
Okay. What I'm saying is that people that want to be in the industry, that want, or it can be anyone from an entrepreneur that wants to start out and give it a chance, somebody just got a passion for cooking, it doesn't matter, I don't give a fuck. Does that make sense? You can have a life, make 50 grand a year or more. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How I've designed this, and the reason I say that, and I made the comment to you the other day on the phone, is because you're a one-man show. You own your own place, you have 0 staff. Understand that. You have no wait staff, you have no host staff, you have no kitchen staff. You are a one-man show. What you do, every day, you either have a lunch concept or a dinner concept. And in some cases, I'd even be willing to entertain breakfast if somebody can show me the right model. I don't care, right? This is kind of one of those things where it's like, here's this big umbrella, and as long as we can get it underneath it, we're good.
Right.
All right. Here's the idea. You make whatever the fuck you want to every day. You can make something today, you make something different tomorrow, something different the next day. If you want to make the same thing every day, I don't care. Is that fair?
Right.
The idea is there would be you, and then someone else, and a bunch of others. What I've done is take what a lot of people want, which is to own their own restaurant, their own place, but I've combined that with all the strengths of the franchise system. Does that make sense? When you're an individual owner, you're thrown to the wolves. You're out there on your own. And I don't care, I have foreclosed on more restaurants than you can possibly imagine. And it was always kind of the same thing. And people told me to get in, I'm really good, blah, 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 blah. Family and friends can only take you so long.
Right.
Okay. In my theory, that's why when you open your own place, you get thrown to the wolves, whereas in the franchise system, they typically are more successful.
Right.
Because it's a strength in numbers, kind of law of nature. What I've done is said, and this works mathematically, and in theory it works, and I have pitched this to a lot of just Joe Blow off the street, they all love it. Okay? Okay. In a franchise system, what you're buying is consistency as the customer.
Right.
If I go to one Mickey D's, I know what I'm going to get
Right.
if I get a Big Mac. On the back end and on the business end, the beauty of a franchise system is all that data collection.
Right.
Learn a lot of things. You can pass that back to your franchisees. In my system, you would be a franchisee. I personally look at this as a co-op, but the attorneys assure me that it's a franchise. Okay, fine.
Okay.
One of the consistencies is everything is $10. Never changes. I go to your restaurant, whatever you're serving that day is $10 because you're making one thing and it's $10. If I go to somebody down the street, same place, they're making something different, but it's $10. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The consistent part is it's always $10,
Okay.
which right now you can't go to Mickey D's barely for
Right.
$10.
You can't.
And you can appreciate too that as an individual, you could do a lot more than they do at Mickey D's.
Yeah.
Don't have, because already you've shaved off labor, you've shaved off all these things. One of the consistencies is no matter where you go, it's $10. Done, deal.
Okay.
You have your own place, you run your own show. The math works out to, and what I'm taking advantage of is the distressed real estate right now. Real estate market's crashing, especially in the restaurant business. You can pick up properties for very cheap, and many of them are already fixtured. Okay? I saw one the other day that still got the Halon in it, the Halon system, the hood.
Yeah.
Still got all the tables and chairs. Landlord's willing to practically give this place away for free just to get somebody in. Everything you make is $10. Every day you're going to make 100. So if you want to make lasagna, you make however many pans to get you 100 servings of lasagna, right?
Right.
And everyone does the same thing. Again, it's back to the model and that part of consistency so that the customer understands that. And this is a big deal, and I'll tell you about more every minute. But it's also from a math perspective, so that everyone in my system, regardless of their education level, can understand very basic math.
Right.
Everything's $10, you're gonna make 100 a day. Part of the reason for the 100 is to create urgency. If you make something that's really, really good and you have customers that always show up whenever you make your lasagna, right? On the app and on the program and on the website, whatever, they can pre-order. So you can start to increase. Everybody knows you're only making 100. On the app, on the website, and even at your front door, there's a ticker. And every day it counts down from 100. So it's to create that urgency if people really want your stuff.
Okay.
Plus they can pre-order, okay? So you can get pre-sales. So you're gonna put on your calendar, which is gonna be mixed with everybody else's calendar, and say, on this date, this is what I'm making. So your customers can set alerts, they can do whatever. So if you're making your famous lasagna, does that make sense? More than that, if you have, because your sales are all within our point of sale system, everyone's. Whatever you say your sales are, you can't fudge on it because it's in the system. If your goal is 100 a day, and you're never gonna do 100 every day, right? But the idea would be easily to be in the 90s. If you said, I consistently sell 95 whenever I make this, big seller, and you can prove it because you have pre-orders, you have all these things in the system. What I want to do to give people the opportunity to create wealth, not just make a living,
Right.
is so that if yours is so good, and you choose to, now this is very important, so a franchisee can choose to do it or not to do it. It's up to them, I don't care. If you chose to, you can give us, you can share your recipe for your lasagna, right? We then work with what we call a vendor partner. Now in this case, you have to be thinking Amazon, Walmart, Costco,
Right.
somebody very big, okay? We work with them. They are not allowed at any time to ever have any input on your recipe. You give it to them, they tell us if they can do it or not. The idea is that now, if Bob in Chicago wants to make your lasagna, because he can see on our system that it's a good seller, so forth, Bob says he wants to make your lasagna. Our vendor partner has taken your recipe and created a kit that makes 100. Bob can order that kit and it be sent to Chicago. You get a royalty. So, and I'm just using it, let's say Bob sold out and sold 100, and you get a 3% royalty. That means you made an extra $30 that day off of one person in one place. The goal to start out is 500 stores. Okay? My point being is that even if you had only, what, 1%, which is 5 stores, every day selling your stuff, randomly here, there, whatever, just 5 people wherever, that's an extra $150 a day. Assume 200 days out of the year, that's an extra 30 grand. If you have a home run.
Right.
And that's what I want to give people the opportunity to do, is to not only have their own place and run their own show, but they can have an opportunity to create wealth as well.
Right.
Does that make sense? This vendor partner, in theory, if they can pack up 100, they can pack up 1.
Right.
If this is successful, the idea is that the customer now, who likes your lasagna so much, if they want to, they can order it, and it's $10. So I don't want to compete with the stores. It's either $10 online or it's $10 in the store. They can order a single kit of your lasagna, shows up in a day or two, it's all fresh shit, right? They make it at home. It's either $10 and you get it home, make it yourself, $10 go to the store. There you are. Who's to say what that could do?
Right.
Okay? The way I have built this model, again, everything is taken care of within what I described to you earlier. You can also earn additional income if you want to give up your recipes. Moreover, and I was kind of thinking about like your cakes that you like to make.
Yeah.
The way this is done, all your expenses are already baked into the main model where you make 50 grand a year. So your kitchen, your space, and everything else is already paid for. The point I'm making is that we allow you to do additional things if you want to. So if you had a regular customer who really liked you and said, hey, can we hold a private event for 25 people? And I want you to make something off the cuff. After work thing. Well, absolutely. You make an extra $400 or $500, good for you.
Right.
And it's all free money because your space is already paid for. It's just your time and labor and however many times that you want to do that. You can easily pick up a lot of money doing that on the side if you wanted to. And I thought about even like you and your cakes because your whole place is paid for.
Right.
So if people wanted to pay you $400 or $500 for a cake, all you need is the ingredients because your space is
Right.
already your space.
Yeah.
And you can do that if you want to, you don't have to if you don't want to. The idea is to give people an opportunity to get in, have their own business, see if they can do this. Because if you really kind of can't do this, there's no way you can own a full-blown restaurant.
No.
Some people, I think, would get into this and say, hey, I'm good.
Right.
You get 1 or 2 home runs and you make a couple extra G's a year off your royalties. You're happy, you have a life, you got vacation, you have all the things you need.
Right.
You can even stretch it out. So let's say there was a place that was too expensive for you, but usually higher priced real estate is because it's in a high traffic area.
Right.
high desired area. Well, if that's the case, you could split it with someone else. If you wanted to do a dinner concept, you could partner with someone. They could come in and do a lunch. You could do dinner. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you can split all those expenses. There's a number of ways that we can carve this up.
Right.
Thoughts so far?
Good.
You
I
like
mean, yeah. No, I mean, seriously. I mean, yeah, like, because a lot of people can't get in their industry. Like, owning a full-blown business isn't what it is. And I've worked at different places where there was just breakfast or just lunch or just dinner. I think Monday and Tuesday, so they're open Wednesday through Sunday. You know what I mean?
And in my program, you can be open whatever 5 days you want.
Right.
I'm going to leave that up to you.
Right.
Kill
You know
it.
what I'm saying? And that's
And then where I look at it is, if you have debt, if you have
Right.
to get a loan on that,
right. That's what I'm saying. It's
you understand me? I don't care that you had a bad month.
Right.
I don't care that whatever happened. Pay me my fucking money.
Right.
Just like an employee.
Right.
If you work 2 weeks and you had some OT and then you didn't have a check there, you think you're going in the next
No,
day?
no.
Fuck you.
No.
Same
That's-
thing.
and
I'm
that's
the
what
bank.
mean,
I want my money.
I just worked in big franchises, you know what I mean? So down to the, mom and pop place.
But I think you would agree with me that anyone with talent,
Well,
whomever you can think
Right.
of, can easily plate up 100.
no, yeah.
You could easily
That's easy.
say, I'm going to make 100 cheddar burgers today.
That's easy.
And in your mind, you could easily figure that out from get to go, cook it up, lunch is done, clean your space,
Yeah.
be done at 4, you're out the door.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You can do your meal planning at home or whenever you want to, but you understand my point,
Yeah.
is you still get to have a life. And you could, I said this to a couple of people, they're like, well, 8 hours isn't enough. And I'm like, dude, if you're in there at 8 o'clock, lunch doesn't kick in until 11:15. 11:15
till about 3. You're done at 3, you can be out of there by the time, and depending on if you want to prep for the next day or whatever, however you want to do that.
But
It-
everybody defines their own process.
Right.
In my way, I'm just giving you the support of a franchise system.
Right.
You're going to operate under the same name. Everything's going to be $10. You're going to make 100 of them.
Right.
That's it. Other than that, you got to follow my formula, my math formula, because I want you to be successful.
Right.
I don't want you getting out of the, but
Right.
I've built this in a way, if you did it, it works.
Okay.
So as long as you're following the model, which we're going to make sure that you're following it because
Right.
we can as your franchisor, okay?
Right.
So as long as you're following the model and you're not fucking anything up, baby, you're good. You can have your own place. I really got this idea, frankly, because I foreclosed on so many fucking restaurants,
Right.
and they all had the same problem, basically.
Right.
But then I started seeing food trucks, and I'm sitting there going, okay, well, these are people wanting to break out of their own and are willing to really hump. But that truck goes down and you're fucked.
Right.
Saying that it's not. Let's say, but my point being is,
Yeah,
if
if
it
it's
breaks
down,
down,
yeah, you're fucked.
you're fucked.
Right. And if anything goes wrong with it, you're fucked.
Nice thing about a brick and mortar,
Right.
it doesn't break down.
Right. And if you keep the maintenance up on all your fucking equipment, you don't have a problem. You know what I mean? And if it's not like, it's not a restaurant that's open from sun up to sundown either, so you're not going to have as much wear and tear on your shit.
No, exactly, because you're
And
gonna,
depending on what you make.
at the most, you're going to look at 100 people coming through your door.
Right.
But some people are going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
Okay. Moreover, you're not running electricity
Right.
from 7 in the morning to 12 at night.
Right.
That's a big deal. So your HVAC isn't working as hard. Your bill shouldn't be as high as
Your gas, all that
places-
shit, yeah.
all kinds of.
Right.
And when you talk about equipment, the way I designed this, if you make the best fucking paninis, I'm sorry,
Right.
in the fucking world, okay, and you ain't got nothing, if you got a space and a panini maker and a license, you can start off by making paninis
Right.
and get started from there. I don't care what you want to make.
Right.
I don't want you cooking horse or something. Okay, but you understand my
Yeah,
point.
I understand.
If you want to make burgers and fries, if you want to do wings, if you want to do lasagna, if you want to do pizzas, if you want to do whatever, the model works on paper. I've got a lot of buy-in from customers. What I'm saying is I know you've kind of moved on, but I mean, as a person that was in this world, if I had come to you 2 years ago, would you say, holy shit, yeah, maybe I might be in, especially if it cost you nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't cost me nothing, of course.
Okay, so here's the sweet spot. Okay, and again, because the economy's tanking, people are looking for jobs, and there's a lot of talent out there from these restaurants getting shut down. I want to take advantage of that,
Right.
and I want to give them opportunities to have their own business. What I want to do is I want to launch a social media campaign, and I want to say I need 500 people. That's not a lot in this country.
Right.
I need 500 people that want to do this. I figure if I can get 500 people, that's a fairly decent social media storm I've already started. What I want to do is this, and I think I can pull it off. You're a civilian, okay? I need 500 civilians that want to do this. Then I go to my world. Because if I can pull that off, what I think I can do is I'm going to sell the advertising rights to all those 500 brick and mortar stores and our electronic. I'm going to sell, I just want somebody come in and give me $10 million. And and you can buy all the advertising rights, do whatever you want to with them. You own them for 2 years. Of that 10 million, I'm going to carve out $7.5 million, and each one of those 500 people is going to get 15 grand in startup money. As a matter of fact, in my program, you are not allowed to have debt. You cannot have any debt whatsoever. You are not allowed to have it. Debt is a crusher. I want this in such a way that if it doesn't work out for you, we shake hands and part friends. Ain't no bank chasing you. A guy like me ain't coming and suing you
Right.
for what you still owe the bank.
Right.
I'm not going to come and close you up. I'm not going to do all the bad things that I've done to a lot of other people. If it doesn't work out for you, we shake hands with our friends. You move on with your life. Ain't nobody dogging you.
Right.
That's a big deal.
It is.
15 grand in startup money, which will go a long way, especially if you buy good used refurbished equipment, because that stuff is pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
There's a huge distressed real estate market in the restaurant business right now. Like I said, lots of spaces that are already fixtured. Landlords looking to give shit
Right.
away. And you get seed money to get started.
Right. I mean, yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I think you have a lot of hit for it. For real.
Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah. I do, honestly.
Okay.
If I was in this spot 2 years ago and you're telling me, hey, yeah, I'll give you 15 grand and you can start up and not be in debt, and fuck yeah, who wouldn't?
And what I'm saying is that in my mind, especially if you're an artisan and you know who those artisans are
Right.
in this business, if what I'm giving you the opportunity to do, if you're that person, is I'm giving you the opportunity to build your own brand. If you're successful, I'm successful. So you can go on Facebook and start, I'm Chef Amber. This is my space in Overland Park, right? You can build your brand while I build my brand. And there's cross benefit there. So that if someday you said, hey, I really knocked this out of the park and I want my own sit down linen tablecloth restaurant, it's a building step
Right.
to get there.
Yeah.
And it costs you nothing. And if it's not successful, we all just shake hands and part friends.
I mean, yeah. I think, yeah, got a winner to me.
You think you like the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most definitely.
So what I'm saying, the kickers are these, and this is the math.
Okay.
I'm trying to teach people. The problem, I think, one of the biggest issues in the restaurant industry is everybody goes into it thinking they got to have a staff or they got to have this and they have all the stuff that they have to have. And again, stuff is cheap. So what I want to teach people is you're going to break everything down into two categories. There's food and then everything else.
Right. Right.
Now, in my world, we have a thing that's called OPEX, operation expense. This, what I'm doing is not the traditional definition of OPEX, and I understand that, but we're going to call it that for our purposes, okay? So really, your OPEX is your rent, it's your utilities, it's your license, it's your insurance, it's all the stuff you know that you have to pay every month just to turn the door,
Right.
flip on the lights,
Right.
right? So, in my model, you need to keep all of your OPEX at $6,000 a month or below.
Right.
In some places, you can't even get rent for that, I understand, but in many places, you can.
Right.
Okay? And moreover, like I said, if it's an expensive place, you can find a partner and split it with them.
Right.
But that's going to be a desired entry anyways. You have to keep your monthly OPEX at $6,000 a month or lower, and you have to keep your food cost at $4 a plate or less. But you can make a lot of good food for $4 a
Yeah.
plate.
Yeah.
You would agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the point being is that, let's say your monthly operating expense all in is $4,500. And whatever you decided to make that day was $325 a plate.
Okay.
Okay? Which basically what that means is that you would have to sell, and this is where it kind of gets interesting. I got to do this. I'm good at Excel, but I'm not great at Excel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you, under that scenario,
Right.
if you would need to sell 82 that day to basically break even
Okay.
because of your franchise fees. If you decided to, if this were, say, Bob in Chicago and he was making your lasagna that day, then it would be a royalty, right?
Okay.
So he would have to sell 85 to break even. And the point being is, then you look over, if you were to max it out, see what I'm saying? He would make an extra $142 that day.
Okay.
All right. So the way, but our software will do all this for you.
Right.
It'll all be plugged in because your numbers will be plugged in, right? And then that way, if somebody's got a slightly higher operating expense, they may not be able to do $4 plate stuff. They need to. The secret is the vendor partner that we have. When they ship those individuals, the reason why this guy, whoever that is going to be interested, is because when they ship your lasagna to Joe Blow in Indy because he wants your lasagna tonight. Whatever between $10 and the cost of that food, say it's $350, that $650 they get to keep minus the royalties, minus my franchise fee and minus your royalty, which is about 90 cents on a $10 deal.
Yeah.
So that would mean that between $9.10 and $3.50 or whatever the price per plate is, they get to keep that. If you got several million of those going out the door every year, they want that money.
Right.
That's why this would be very interesting to them.
Okay.
Okay. The beauty is that whatever the cost per plate is, it's the same for everyone. It's the same for our vendor partner. It's the same for you. It's the same for whoever's making your food and vice versa.
Okay.
So it's the same cost to everyone if you get that kit. The idea of the vendor partner is because they have such huge purchasing power, significantly greater than yours or mine,
Right.
they may be able to reduce some of those per plate per cost.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, in my travels, because I'm in a lot of small towns, I had some small diners that I said, well, what if I did this thing? And they were like, well, that's a great idea, but we can't do 100 a day. So I came up, I'm calling this Lorenzo's, and then I came up with Lorenzo's Light, which basically is if you think you can do 50 a day, right?
Right.
The only difference, everything is basically cut in half. Your monthly OPEX can't be greater than 3,
Okay.
but look at it this way. This is a defunct restaurant in here.
Right.
This is $800 a month. You could easily get into $3,000.
Right.
Okay. If you're willing to take 25 grand a year, and again, max of 3, you can still keep the $4 a plate. That's not going to change. You still get an opportunity to be a part of the whole system. So
Right.
again, if you have a recipe that's the shit, you still get to participate, even if you're in a small town. You still can have kits shipped into you, so your customers
Right.
can get a different flavor if you choose to, or you can keep making your own stuff, but you can participate.
Right.
So it actually increases the availability to other people to create opportunity.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, why not?
And this would be done for you every day. So when you're going through and you're like, hey, you know what, next week, I don't want to do any of my stuff. I just want the no-brainers.
Right.
Just show it up in a kit and I'll cook it.
Right.
I like that deal for the entrepreneur. Because there's going to be somebody out there who's going to, hey, I can cook and I got nothing else to do.
Right.
15 large and I can open my own place and I'm a responsible person.
Yeah.
I'll just order kits all day.
Right.
I'll just cook other people's stuff.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
it's no-brainer, right? I
Right.
just got to follow the instructions and it shows up and
yeah.
the sales data is in the system and tells me that these are always sellers.
Yeah.
So unless I'm really screwing something up, I could just show up every day and make whatever.
Yeah.
To me, the biggest piece is on the customer side because the customer now gets more interaction with the system than they've ever had before, right? Because big sellers, they can promote those.
Yeah.
If they want to pre-order something, they can. If they want to set alerts. I have a couple of business people that I know, they love this idea because my comment was, what if, you were in Phoenix and you went to one of the Lorenzo's there and had something that was awesome. When you come home, you could go to your local one and say, hey man, I was in Phoenix and ate this shit at this other guy's house, at this other guy's place. You need to look into getting that.
Right.
And you see all that interactivity.
Yeah.
And the beauty also as an owner is there's no geo to it. Like if I go build a McDonald's, they can't put another McDonald's within a given area. That's my protection. Well, of course, because you're both selling the same thing. In this case, numbers are strength. It doesn't, you could put one in next door to you because it doesn't matter. You're not competing
Right.
because you're making something and they're making something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense to me.
So there's no lockup on being able to open one.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's good for me. I like it. If I wasn't that anymore, I'd do it. Like, I'd be one of the ones to sign up for it. You know
So
what I'm
you,
saying?
okay, and you're kind of the person I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, like I would do it in a heartbeat. And then you got to, you know what I mean? If there's something that you're willing to give me 15 grand to start up and all I got to do is just literally move in and start making food, who the fuck wouldn't do that? I would.
So you like it?
Yeah, for real. It's a good
Okay.
idea.